Hey YouTube, this is PrimetimePokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing my Reshiram GX and Ho-Oh GX deck. So this video is geared towards the competitive scene in the 2019 standard format. I have done several deck review and deck profile videos on my channel. You'll find a playlist that I've created for these videos in the description of this video. So this particular deck I actually brought to a league challenge and placed fourth with a 2-1 record. I actually have done a tournament results video stating the outcome of each round with this deck previously on my channel. The remainder of this video will be laid out the same as all of the other deck review videos that I do on my channel. I will provide an overview of the general strategy for this deck. I'll show a deck checklist on the screen, and then a majority of this video, I'll be going through each and every card in this deck. Now at this time, this is somewhat of a rogue deck. It is not a staple or something that is going to be seen in all of the tournaments out there, but I am a huge fan of this deck, and because Charizard is my favorite Pokemon, a fire-type Pokemon, I am a big fan of fire-type decks. In particular, I really like the Volcanion EX deck from the 2018 standard format. So as far as the general strategy with this deck goes, you want to get out Reshiram GX turn 1 and then use Kiawe to get 4 fire energy onto Reshiram GX. Then turn 2, you want to have Ho-Oh GX on your bench, have Reshiram GX in the active Pokemon spot, use its GX attack, Vermillion GX, making sure you have 3 or 4 energy cards in your hand and you can get energy with Fiery Flint. Then, when you use Vermillion GX, you can not only do 180 damage and hopefully knock out the defending Pokemon, but you can move those fire energy from your hand to Ho-Oh GX on the bench. That way, going forward, you can do 180 plus damage every single turn. So those two Pokemon are the primary attackers in the deck. I do use Oranguru from Sun and Moon base set and Tapu Koko for 2 specific reasons. Oranguru is for its draw ability, and then Tapu Koko is to reset Ho-Oh GX's move so that I can do 180 damage each and every turn. So I Guzma Tapu Koko into the active Pokemon spot, retreat it, and put back in Ho-Oh GX to do Phoenix Burn. I do use Reshiram in this deck so that I can try to take down Shrine of Punishment decks, but the Shrine of Punishment decks that I have faced with this deck already, I actually Field Blow that Stadium card away, and then I can knock out lots of Pokemon with up to 130 HP in one turn, every single turn, with Reshiram GX. And then I do have 4 copies of Tapu Lele GX to make sure that I can get Kiawe turn 1, and then I can get the exact supporter I need later on in the game. So on the screen now you can see the deck checklist. 12 total Pokemon. Tapu Lele GX is actually the card that I use most in the deck, 4 copies of that card. Reshiram GX is more important than Ho-Oh GX just to accelerate fire type energy. I only use the 1 copy of Oranguru, so I may be out of luck if that card is prized. Same goes for Tapu Koko. Only 3 different supporter cards, Kiawe, Guzma, and Cynthia, and then several item, tool, and stadium cards, and then also several energy cards, 14 fire energy. I can go through all the different cards in the deck now. Starting with the Pokemon, I use 12 total. I do use 4 copies of Tapu Lele GX from the Guardians Rising set. The only reason to use this card is for its Wonder Tag ability, which allows you to put a supporter card from your deck into your hand when you put Tapu Lele GX from your hand to your bench. So again, Kiawe turn 1, or something like Guzma or Cynthia later on. I do use 3 copies of Reshiram GX. This is from Dragon Majesty. At first I wasn't a huge fan of this card, but it is a pretty great card and the reason that I built this deck. 180 HP, does have a 2 colorless energy retreat cost, and is weak to water type Pokemon. Flame Charge is a good way to accelerate fire type energy if you're going second. During the first turn of the game, you can attach a fire type energy and then search your deck for up to 2 fire energy cards, so you can have 3 on by turn 2. Scorching Column is the attack that I use to take down one prize attackers. It does 110 damage, plus it burns the defending Pokemon, so it essentially does 130 guaranteed damage. And then Vermillion GX is a great GX attack. For 4 total energy cards, it does 180 damage, and then it says you may attach up to 5 fire energy cards from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. So again, Fiery Flint is a great way to get energy cards into your hand. So I put 4 on Ho-Oh GX, and then if I have another Ho-Oh or maybe a Reshiram on the bench, then I start putting energy on that Pokemon as well. Next up would be Ho-Oh GX, 2 copies of this card. It is weak to Lightning type Pokemon, which is an advantage. 190 HP, which is also very good. 3 moves on the card. Sacred Fire I do not use much. 3 energy cards, it does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Phoenix Burn is the main reason to use this card. For 4 energy, it does 180 damage. However, this Pokemon can't use Phoenix Burn during your next turn. So I guess if you are facing something that has 230 HP, you can do Phoenix Burn once and then Sacred Fire the next turn to knock it out if somehow your opponent doesn't heal the damage or retreats it out of the active Pokemon spot. And then Eternal Flame GX for 3 energy, I really never use. It says put 3 in any combination of Fire Pokemon GX or Fire Pokemon EX from your discard pile onto your bench. So again, I just use Phoenix Burn and then just Guzma this card into the active Pokemon spot continuously to do 180 damage, 210 damage per turn with a Choice Band every single turn. I use 1 copy of Oranguru from Sun and Moon base set. This card is for its ability Instruct, which says once during your turn you may draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. So this is useful to try and get turn 1 Kiawe or to try and get Fiery Flint when you're trying to accelerate energy. It is weak to Fighting type Pokemon, which is a disadvantage when you're facing lots of Buzzwole decks out there. Same goes for Lycanroc GX. I do use 1 copy of Reshiram. This is from Shining Legends. I've battled with this deck a lot. I have not used this Reshiram card 1 time. It does have a high retreat cost, but its HP is also high, which is very good. Outrage for 2 colorless energy does 20 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So it could do up to 140 damage per turn. And then Scorching Breath would be the reason to use this card. For 3 energy, it does 130 damage. So this would be another card, if you're trying to avoid Shrine of Punishment, that would be good to use. And then the final card that I used for Pokemon would be Tapu Koko SM30, a Black Star promo, 110 HP, which is solid. It has a free retreat cost, which is the main reason that I use this card. And then Flying Flip for 2 colorless energy does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Now the primary attackers in this deck can do a maximum of 210 damage. Po-Town as well as Flying Flip are 2 ways to whittle down your opponent's HP if they are more than 210. So there's a look at the Pokemon in this deck. I'll move on to the trainer cards now. 34 total. Only 12 supporter cards. I used 4 copies of each. Cynthia from Ultra Prism. Shuffle your hand in your deck, then draw 6 cards. A staple in most decks out there. 4 copies of Guzma from Burning Shadows. This is another staple. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So you can reset Phoenix Burn on Ho-Oh GX, or you can just switch whatever you want of your opponents into the active Pokemon spot so you can knock it out. And then the key to this entire deck would be Kiawe. This is from Burning Shadows. 4 copies of this card. Search your deck for up to 4 Fire Energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. Your turn ends. So you really hope to go first during the game. That way you can't attack anyways, and Kiawe is that much better. And really, I'm only using 1 Kiawe on the entire game. I'm hoping that Wishful Baton as well as Energy Recycler will help me out enough that I never really have to Kiawe a second time. On to the item, tool, and stadium cards now. Several of each. First up, I use 4 copies of Ultra Ball. This is a staple in most decks as well. This is a great way to go and get either Reshiram or Ho-Oh, or to make sure that you can get Tapu Lele GX to get a turn 1 Kiawe. It just says to discard 2 cards from your hand and go and get a Pokemon from your deck. I use 3 copies of Choice Band. This increases the 2 primary attackers in this deck so that they can do 210 damage per turn when attacking GX Pokemon. So you attach this to a Pokemon and then it does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon GX. I also use 3 copies of Fiery Flint from Dragon Majesty. Search your deck for up to 4 Fire Energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So you discard 2 cards from your hand, and then you can put up to 4 Fire Energy cards into your hand. So you want to use this card before you use Vermillion GX. I do use 2 copies of Acrobike, Celestial Storm. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand. Discard the other card. So that can be helpful if you're trying to get a Pokemon you need, or if you're trying to get Fiery Flint. Just any way that allows additional draws per turn is very helpful. Plus, if you do discard a Fire Energy, you can then just go and get it back with Energy Recycler. Next up would be Field Blower, 2 copies of this card. This is to field blow away Choice Band, as well as things like Shrine of Punishment. 180 HP isn't that much that's on Reshiram GX, so I'm trying to rid my opponent's Pokemon of Choice Band, which then will allow them to reach 180 a little bit easier. I also use 2 copies of Nest Ball. This says search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. So I use this to go and get Tapu Koko and Oranguru a lot of times, one-off Pokemon that I just want to leave on my bench. Poton would be next. This is a little bit different. This is a stadium card and it says whenever any player plays a Pokemon from their hand to evolve one of their Pokemon, put 3 damage counters on that Pokemon. So the reason that I use this stadium card in the deck is to get rid of Shrine of Punishment stadium cards, and then if my opponent is playing some Stage 1 and Stage 2 GX cards, when they evolve those Pokemon, it will give them some damage. That way, 210 damage should knock them out in one attack. Wishful Baton would be next. 2 copies of this card. You attach this to a Pokemon, and if it is knocked out, you can move 3 basic energy attached to that Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So this is very useful if you have 4 energy on Reshiram GX, for example. It's knocked out. You can then have another Reshiram GX on your bench and move 3 of those energy cards to that Reshiram, add 1 more the next turn, and Reshiram GX is ready to attack right away. I use 1 copy of Escape Rope and 1 copy of Energy Recycler. Escape Rope just says each player switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Your opponent switches first. So if I have Tapu Koko on my bench, I can just put Tapu Koko in and then retreat or free and put back whatever Pokemon I want. And then it really forces my opponent to potentially put a Pokemon into the active Pokemon spot that can't retreat right away if my own Pokemon are not set up and can't attack. And then Energy Recycler is very useful in case you can't get Wishful Baton set up on one of your Pokemon that gets knocked out. You can then shuffle 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile back into your deck. So very useful, the combination of Energy Recycler and Wishful Baton. That is something that I added on my own. Really liked that combination. And as far as energy cards go, 14 total, all fire energy. And it is very important in this deck, if you don't get Kiawe, to be able to at least add 1 energy to a Pokemon each and every turn. So there is a look at my Reshiram GX and Ho-Oh GX deck. I'm hoping there are some more fire-type support cards in Lost Thunder that comes out in November. But I think I'm going to continue playing this deck at future League challenges and Pokemon TCG tournaments. So there you have it. There's a look at my fire-type deck. As always, if you have deck suggestion videos you'd like me to do, please let me know in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.